And call this meeting to order. I'm so sorry that I'm calling it to order to the back of your heads. I promise we'll move in a moment. But could the secretary please call the roll?
Anna Braun.
Here.
Timothy Cummings.
Here.
Jamie Falco.
Here.
Louis Figueroa.
Here.
Lori Herrick.
Here.
Lee Woo Hong.
Here.
Lori Lax.
Here.
Wilbur Pan. Heather Guas.
Here. We have a quorum. Please rise to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President's announcement then? Okay. All right, again, I apologize for to the back of your heads. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the East Brunswick Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Board of Education offices. Written notice was also provided to the Sentinel, the New York Star Ledger, the Home News Tribune, and the Alternative Press of East Brunswick, and the Municipal Clerk of East Brunswick. All Board of Education meetings, with the exception of executive session discussions, are videotaped for later broadcast. It is the policy of the Board of Education that videotaped meetings are not edited for any purpose. Individuals who speak at the board's public meetings should be aware of these videotaping rules. All right, and we are moving to the Wall of Honor.
Good evening, everyone. I couldn't help but sit back there and think about if we delivered this in the very back of the room, behind your heads, how Leslie would find that humorous. Let me tell you a little bit about the Wall of Honor. We're here to celebrate the 2025 Wall of Honor honoree. It's Leslie Anderson. She influenced our school district in extraordinary ways. And throughout her time with us, she made substantial impact to this district. And we're going to share those details and her contributions later in this program. But first, just about the Wall of Honor. This was constructed for the purpose of honoring individuals who have made a significant and extraordinary contribution to East Brunswick schools. The recognition committee is composed of members of the Board of Education, the East Brunswick Education Association, the East Brunswick Principals and Supervisors Association, and was established to develop guidelines, and criteria for the selection of the honorees. And it's considered the highest honor our district awards. The Register of Honors, which is that big book over in the corner, it details the service history of the individuals who have been chosen for this honor. And that register allows us to memorialize the wonderful contributions of all of these individuals. So at this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Heather Guas, who is President of the Board of Education.
Good evening. I do not have the experience of knowing Leslie Anderson in the way that many of you did. But I did have the honor of meeting her many times, but there were two instances that resonated because it was so evident that for her teaching was an art and a calling. I had asked to tour the high school during the summer. It was hot and sweaty and surprisingly not empty. Loud, excited voices were coming from one hall, many, and the kids heard us and came out and invited me, a complete stranger to them, in to show me what they were doing. I was completely intrigued and a little warm. And who was teaching a group of kids there in the summer who were so excited about what they were doing and had the adult skills to come out meet me, and ask me if I wanted to be shown around was Leslie. A day later, I received a letter from the Robotics Club president thanking me for taking the time to visit them and ask questions, and explained what they were currently working on, including their outreach to preschoolers, and offered to answer questions about activities or future plans. And I was blown away, because teaching children to explore and discover through robotics, that's amazing. But teaching children to interact successfully and gracefully with the adult world, that was Leslie. A year later, I had the pleasure of talking teaching on stage with Leslie while waiting for the NHS inductions to begin. We had both started to begin teaching around the same time. And her enthusiasm and energy was completely magnetic. She spoke of her kids and smiled. She laughed often. She spoke with such pride and stopped our conversation repeatedly as her kids politely waited to ask her questions. They were nervous, and she was clearly their rock and their guide. And I walked away with two thoughts. I wanted to be like her, and I wanted my own children to have her as a teacher. I am honored to be a part of her induction into the East Brunswick Wall of Honor. Leslie Anderson is what parents hope for, what generations grow from, and what children need as a beacon, a guide, and an anchor. And I know by the number of students out in the world and in East Brunswick who are young adults, and some who are, well, like adults, who in their minds still consider themselves to be her kids, that we were honored by her presence, and we are grateful to honor her tonight. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Dana Zimbicki, who is president of the East Brunswick Education Association.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So tonight's bittersweet as we gather to celebrate the dedication and life work of our dear friend Leslie Anderson. And I'm going to try not to cry. So I know she's looking down on us right now and thinking, no, not me. You should choose somebody else. It shouldn't be me, because that's who Leslie was. She was selfless. This evening, you're going to hear about Leslie's passion for education and her incredible reach, because she was so much more than a teacher. But I want to talk about the person she was. Leslie was a rock to so many. Of course, to her adoring husband, Kevin, to her parents and her family, but also to nearly every person she encountered. One of the things that touched my soul so much about Leslie was her optimistic spirit. The house could be on fire, and she would sit there and calmly say, "It's going to be okay. We'll get through this." She never saw the glass half empty. She always saw it half full. She radiated positivity, and even in her own darkest moments, she was a blessing to all of us. While preparing this speech, I actually went back into my phone and I looked at some of our old text messages. On a particular difficult day for the EBA, she wrote to me, "No problem. You focus on the great stuff you're doing, and thanks for letting me handle this. I've got you." Yep, she did. She had me. She always did. She was there for everyone. Leslie's reach was wide and deep. A once-in-a-lifetime teacher, if you were lucky enough to have her, a multiple club advisor at the high school, a building rep, a committee leader, a leader in the East Brunswick Education Association, the Middlesex County Education Association, the New Jersey Education Association, and even the National Education Association. She was an advocate for all, students, colleagues, administration, family, and even fur babies. She had a gift for making others feel truly special. She would show up just when life was handing out lemons with her homemade sangria. When my mom was in hospice at a particular horrible time, she texted me, "Enjoy the sangria and let everything else wait till Monday." It meant so much, because you need to have people like that in your life to say, stop, take a break, right? The other thing, Leslie showed up at 1 o'clock in the morning at the administration building during a tough negotiation session with arms full of her homemade cookies, donuts, and coffee, and, most special, an inspirational note for the EBA negotiations team. She was the right amount of positive, just what we needed to keep us going in the wee hours. She led by example. She listened, validated, encouraged. She helped people see reality and work through it. And no matter the situation, you walked away from a conversation with Leslie feeling seen, feeling heard, and above all, feeling special. At the start of the 2018-19 school year, Leslie gifted each of her EBA reps. She was the chief rep at the high school. She gifted them with a little inspiration kit, and she gave me one too. And it hangs on my bulletin board right in front of my face with the little card, and I look at it often. And it was cute, right? Just a little, it was called the EBA Building Rep Toolkit. There were pennies in it to remind you, always put in your 2 cents. There was a rubber band to say, always stay flexible. There was confetti. I love this one. When you feel like throwing something, throw joy. There were marbles to replace the ones that you lose often. And of course, a Hershey's miniature chocolate. And it said, it's chocolate. What else do I need to say? This kit hangs there, and it reminds me so much of her message, her passion, her advocacy, and to stay hopeful, and to stay kind, and to stay Leslie. So tonight, Leslie joins the incredible individuals on this Wall of Honor, people who went far, far, far beyond their district jobs. But a few of them on this wall are a little extra golden, just a little extra golden. And Leslie is definitely going to be one of those little extra goldens. So Leslie, congratulations, and we miss you.
And next, we'll hear from Mr. Russ Petronko. He's the Vice President of the East Brunswick Principals and Supervisors Association.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, East Brunswick Public Schools honor the legacy of Leslie Anderson by placing her amongst the other distinguished recipients on the Wall of Honor. If any of the previous recipients are in attendance, congratulations and welcome home. It was in my role as an assistant principal at the high school from 2020 to 23 that I got to work alongside Leslie and witness her many qualities that led us to being here this evening. 3 years can seem like a short time, but anyone who knew Leslie and who got taken in by her understands that it was more than enough to realize what a special person she is and was. Leslie will undoubtedly be remembered for her empathy and fairness. Those two go together because she had a deep understanding of her colleagues' struggles, having endured plenty of her own. And she still maintained a true north in terms of what was right and what excellence meant in the context of an East Brunswick education. She held herself, her fellow teachers, her students, and the administration to that standard. Some will likely remember Leslie as a person that had an unlimited enthusiasm for life, which many times meant a good party. Leslie was unlikely to miss a high school social gathering and was often the person that would ensure that no one went thirsty. It is in this spirit that if there was something that she enjoyed, she wanted you to experience it too. I once stopped by Leslie's class to compliment her new car, a beautiful Mazda Miata convertible. Without skipping a beat in her lesson, she threw me the keys so that I could take it for a spin. It was after the school day.
Point taken.
As a member of the high school administrative team, I will remember Leslie for possessing the rare ability to bring people together and foster a more unified and collaborative environment. In an unhealthy school, the teachers' union and members of administration can have an unproductive relationship. This was not the case in Leslie's school, as she would proudly proclaim it. much to the chagrin of the principal. In fact, she would park in his spot when he wasn't there. In Leslie's school, she reminded us the power of understanding, collaboration, excellence, empathy, and in recognizing the crucial contributions of all members of the school community, especially when it came to the connection between teachers and administrators. Her lasting impact will be the spirit of cooperation and mutual respect that she made a cornerstone of her career, and that at its core, this is a people business. Leslie experienced a lifetime of achievement, recognition, and awards. On behalf of the East Brunswick Principals and Supervisors Association, congratulations, Kevin, on her receiving this well-deserved honor.
You've already heard a lot about Leslie, but I'm going to add a little bit more to the story. When you think about East Brunswick High School, as you've already heard, you cannot help but think about Leslie Anderson as part of the fabric of that school's community. She was involved, as you've heard, in every aspect of student and staff life, ensuring that everyone was supported and encouraged to be their best. And she truly was inspiring to all of us. Leslie was first and foremost a science teacher in East Brunswick High School for 26 years. She started her career teaching physics and chemistry, and always wanted to jump in and help. There's no surprise. She also tackled being the yearbook advisor early in her career. As she continued in her career, she became a leader in the chemistry department and the entire science department. She not only taught every level of chemistry, she taught them all well. She could help a struggling student understand a basic chemistry concept one period, and the next period helped the most exceptional student understand content far beyond the high school curriculum. She did it all in a supportive manner, always encouraging, always believing that her students could and would succeed. And that even happened on Honor Society induction night when it comes to lighting the candles. Leslie was instructing students on how to use that lighter properly. Long before we were all forensic scientists from our hours of watching CSI, Leslie had the vision to develop our very own crime scene investigation class, and she spearheaded the addition of a now popular forensic science class at high school, something she was incredibly proud of. Leslie was so much more than a science teacher. She was a club advisor for every club that needed her, and as you heard, she was involved in everything: Key Club, National Honor Society, Yearbook, Science Honor Society, and of course, robotics. She was the driving force behind the Powder Puff football game, which is now named in her honor, and helped the school begin the Relay for Life charity events, both of which have become a tradition. We could never capture all the hours she spent at the high school, impacting the school climate in countless ways. She was involved in everything that was good at East Brunswick High School. No accommodation for Leslie would be complete without mention of her work with the East Brunswick Education Association. So Leslie, as the grievance chairperson, and I met on occasion about issues concerning staff. But she was always a fierce advocate for her colleagues, and she always remained professional, respectful, and supportive of the district. And we could all learn from her when working through disagreements. While we are honoring Leslie tonight, she is also honored by many organizations throughout her time teaching. She received the Bristol-Myers Squibb Fellowship, Teachers Who Make Magic, the Governor's Teacher Award, and was an EBEF Partner in Excellence. So as you know, Leslie passed away in August of 2022, and her untimely passing left a hole in our hearts and the hearts of the high school. And if she were here tonight, she would say, as you've already heard, she didn't need to be recognized, that she did it all because she loved the work, she loved her students, she loved her colleagues, and she loved the school district. And while she's not here to accept the award, she is here with us in traditions, activities, and the great instruction that carries on. So her husband, Kevin Monahan, is here to accept the award on her behalf. She is most deserving of being honored with a place on the East Brunswick Wall of Honor. Kevin?
All right. You want to do the big reveal before you say your few words?
Please. Thank you.
All right. Good boy. Take down over there.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Dr. Valesky. Can we hear me back there? Thumbs up? Okay. Thank you. All the speeches have been very intuitive and well put together, so I'm going to take it a little more deeper. It's my prerogative. And good evening. Thanks for contacting me to attend the East Brunswick Wall of Honor recognition ceremony. Leslie Anderson was she was a great person, a phenomenal education professional, and also a fearless and hardworking advocate for the cause. Leslie was my loving wife. My counterpart, go-to person, favorite chef, and my rock. She certainly was gifted, and not only possessed superpowers, but infused her game with downright hard work. Being on time was always what people expected, but she was always early and driven by many students and those who valued her knowledge, guidance, and those who never gave up. And if they thought they failed, there was born a new opportunity to make it better. She also reached out to the wider student population and once again gave her precious time and skill set to make students' activities work. Many people read letters, books, one of her faves, proposals, signs, and whatever popped up on social media at the moment. She read people. When you take away all the noise in the world, we hopefully have each other. For those who have had the opportunity to work with her, either through yearbook, robotics team, and through many other groups, were able to benefit from her. What great feedback reward it was for her. I quoted it a few times while at the high school, but I was per diem. Leslie was not only smart and genuine, but she worked long hours. And as once quoted, never, never give up. Thank you.
We thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate this moment, this event, along with Kevin. And we'll have a few moments for you to all just share some personal comments while we rearrange this room and get it ready for a board meeting. Thanks again, everyone, for coming. And I know Leslie's watching this, and I hope she's approving. Because if she's not, she would let us know.
Is there thunder right now?
All right. So, I'm sorry, I'm a little out of order now. Okay, thank you. All right, we are going to begin with the superintendent's report. Dr. Valesky?
Thank you, President Guas. Good evening, everyone, again. The artwork on display in the boardroom this evening was created by students from Churchill Junior High School. The art teachers of these talented students are Darren Amy, Greg Barron, Shana Fernandez, Debbie Menuza, and Kimberly Valdata. Matt Hannes is the principal. This past weekend, the high school orchestra attended a national orchestra competition in Washington, D.C., and the trip was extremely successful. The group played very well and received a gold rating for their performance in first place in the orchestra category. And there's more. They also received the award for the best overall orchestra, as well as the award for the highest scores out of all the instrumental groups that participated in the festival. So congratulations to the EBHS Orchestra on this outstanding achievement. East Brunswick's Director of Public Works, Daniel Losek, came to the Joanne Magister Performing Arts Center on Tuesday, April 8th, to give a presentation on solid waste management to the Hammersholt students as part of the Grade 5 Science Trash Power Unit. Mr. Losek is a graduate of East Brunswick High School and provided insights on how the township utilizes its leaf composting site, recycling programs, and the county landfill located here in East Brunswick. And students asked great questions, and we hope it was a memorable experience for them. Third grade students at Lawrence Brook Elementary participated in the Fire Safety House program on April 8th. The East Brunswick Fire Department sends a trailer to the school in which students learn about fire safety and how to safely exit a building if a fire is present. There's a simulation of a fire with smoke, which is really fog, so that students can truly understand the significance of safely leaving a situation quickly. Our students benefited from learning about vital fire prevention and fire escape techniques. Over the course of the next month, all third grade students in the district will have the opportunity to participate in the Fire Safety House. Central Elementary proudly celebrated student leadership on Wednesday, April 2nd with their Principal for a Day event. Congratulations to Nately Hackham, Cristiano Sadek, who stepped up in the role and experienced a day of running the school. And we commend their enthusiasm and participation in this unique learning opportunity. This year, the Autism Committee at Chittick Elementary School took a unique approach to raising awareness and funds for autism support. Rather than purchasing T-shirts, the committee designed and created custom autism awareness shirts using a Cricut machine, which was made possible through an EBEF grant. Thanks to this initiative, Chittick Elementary School was able to donate $624.14 to Autism New Jersey. So thank you to them. In addition to the T-shirt project, students collaborated with their buddy classes to create a beautiful flower wall display. And each petal represented something that makes each individual unique. And together they form the shape of a infinity symbol, which is a recognized symbol for autism acceptance. This meaningful display highlighted the importance of inclusivity and the celebration of differences within the school community. In sports, this week at the GMC Sportsmanship Luncheon, the following students were honored. Samantha Arnold, who is on our field hockey and girls lacrosse teams, was our female sportsmanship recipient. Silas Vega, who is on our boys lacrosse team and was our male sportsmanship recipient. And on Saturday, April 5th, Silas also recorded his 500th career save for our boys lacrosse team. Grace Gagola, who is on our field hockey and girls lacrosse teams, was honored as the recipient of the 2025 GMC Kindness Council Award. The Kindness Council Award was given on behalf of the Peters Fund, and that's part of the Marissa Tafaro Foundation. This award is presented to a student athlete who demonstrates compassion, generosity, kindness, sportsmanship, inclusivity, and empathy. Grace was nominated by her girls lacrosse coach and school counselor, Jessica Allen. The East Brunswick Athletic Program was also honored for the 2025 Sportsmanship Award for the entire GMC. We were nominated because of the number of sportsmanship awards our teams have won each season this past year, and then voted as the winner by the athletic directors in the GMC. Congratulations to our March High School Athletes of the Month. Students were selected for this honor by the coaching staff based on performance, demonstration of leadership, effort in practice, and of course for modeling exceptional character. I would also like to remind the community of some additional calendar changes for the school year. If we do not use our one remaining emergency closing day by Friday, May 23rd, then Tuesday, May 27th will be a non-school day for students and 10-month staff. I'm looking for the smiling faces of the students in front. District offices will be open. Governor Murphy has rescheduled the June 2025 primary election date from June 3rd to June 10th. The district has adjusted our school calendar as follows to accommodate this change. Tuesday, June 3rd will now be a full day for all students with lunch served for students in grades K through 12. But Tuesday, June 10th, will now be a single session day for all students with lunch served in grades K through 6. As a final reminder, school will be closed beginning Monday, April 14th through Friday, April 18th for spring break. Schools will reopen on Monday, April 21st. And I hope everyone has a very enjoyable spring break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm sorry. We also wanted to, at the very end of this, I asked Mr. Juliana to recap from Tuesday's meeting the budgetary changes we were making for the final budget adoption scheduled for the future. And I wanted Mr. Juliana just to recap those briefly, if you would, before we wrap this up.
Of course.
Thank you.
So as a recap, and I'll go through the list as we did the other evening. The co-teaching model for band and orchestra at Churchill has been restored. The co-teaching model for band and orchestra at Hammersholt is restored. The Hammersholt school schedule will remain in its current status. One fine arts teaching position is reinstated. That's shared between Hammersholt and the high school. Graduation transportation is reinstated, and connected to that is the elimination of employee mileage reimbursements, since that will not be necessary. The Churchill late bus service is reinstated at 1 day per week. If the board will recall, we talked about the utilization by students, so that will suffice. And the same holds true with the high school late bus service. That will be 1 day per week. And Hammersholt's late bus service will also be 1 day per week. The restoration of full-time bus driver schedules to 8 hours. A reduction in teaching staff, 2 positions at Hammersholt due to a decrease in enrollment that is not affecting program. Reduction in summer staff development. We will still retain necessary summer staff development. Other areas will be deferred, and this is for practical arts, artificial intelligence, flex, arts education, ILA, K-6, English 712, world languages and ELL, science 712, science K-6, math 712, math K-6, social studies, and health and PE. 2 currently vacant bus driver positions will be abolished. We will reestablish 1 part-time bus driver position at 7 3/4 hours per day. And we are also reducing transportation costs of approximately $110,000 as a result of contractors coming in with commitments at less than what the CPI was approved by the state. We also have a reduction in contractual professional memberships associated with reduction in administrative staff. We have a reduction in contracted interpreter services, a reduction in translation services, a reduction in the EduClimber program, a result of the company providing us an adjusted quote that significantly reduced that cost. Summer Academy celebration is eliminated. There is no Summer Academy for ESL, so that is not a necessary cost. And the acquisition of Grapeseed, a curriculum for pre-K bilingual ESL, will be deferred. At the end of the discussion, and these are all items that the board gave consensus to, so will be reflected in the budget. At the end of the discussion, there were additional adjustments that would be required in the amount of $27,032, and we've identified the following areas which will be adjusted. Firstly, we received additional notification from another bus contractor today indicating that they would renew their bus contract at 2% rather than the 3.6%. So that results in a little over $10,000 of savings in transportation contracts. In addition, looking at some of the efficiencies and technology utilization, we were able to bring down further the postage usage by $3,000. And then also lastly, looking at our unemployment reserve, the funds that we put into the reserve will be able to reduce that by the balance needed of $13,486. So those items combined make up the difference that we had discussed the other day, and all of that ties into the second item on the business section of the agenda, which is for board approval this evening, the application to the Department of Education.
And Mr. Giuliano, just to be clear, the last items you referenced allow the ninth grade coaches'
Yes.
stipends to remain
Yes.
in the budget.
The board did
that
not
were
give-
identified in the discussion.
Correct.
Just, may I ask a question on that? Just so that also means that there would be no additional money towards tax levy? In
Correct.
other words, those areas are covering
Correct.
That is
Okay.
correct.
Thank
What
you.
we presented the other night, Dr. Figueroa, that number stays the same.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
And I have a question too. It's the 4 freshman sports and also the gymnastics.
That's
There's
correct.
2 coaches for
So
the.
there was no change
Perfect. Thank you.
to those coaches' stipends. They remain.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a resolution of appreciation and recognition. Is that a here or is that an up there?
Let's do it up here.
That's an up there.
It's freezing.
It's 42 degrees Celsius.
Joyce loves it.
We calling up Jeff? All right. All right, this is a resolution of appreciation for the East Brunswick Education Foundation, 2025 Partner in Excellence. Whereas since its inception in 1993, the East Brunswick Education Foundation has funded 1,771 grants amounting to over $3 million in funding for technology equipment, cultural programs, authors' visits, school-wide cross-curricular learning events, hands-on materials, many books, and much more to complement teaching and learning throughout the district. And whereas from July 2024 to March 2025, the foundation has awarded 50 grants amounting to $111,000 towards its ongoing mission to enhance and enrich the curriculum for the students attending the East Brunswick Public Schools. And whereas its annual Partner in Excellence Dinner on April 30th, 2025, the foundation will celebrate this year's honorees, Jessica Di Benedetti, Lisa Ruggiero, Elizabeth Stankiewicz, Austin C. Cossack Jr., as well as the induction of Michael Siebel and Zach Morrison into the Alumni Hall of Fame. Now therefore be it resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education expresses its appreciation to the foundation and its supporters for the generous and continuing commitment towards excellence in education, and be it further resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education recognizes and applauds the 2025 Partner in Excellence honorees and the Alumni Hall of Fame inductee on having been selected by the foundation this year. I need a motion for this.
So moved.
And a second? All right. Any discussion?
Who's the second?
Jimmy.
We're fighting over it.
You're fighting over it?
No, I think it was that.
I thought it was over here. I thought
It was Jamie?
Jamie.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry.
All right. Any discussion? Lou?
The best time to be a board member is to appreciate the EBEF every year. Each time when I see those guys come here, I'm very happy. So you guys already know that last year and this year, we tried to save a few $100 to cut one program or one project. Look at this number, more than $3 million, and more than 1,077 projects. And I believe last night you guys approved another almost $30,000 or $50,000 grant. At this difficult time, when the state cutting our fund, everything going up, you guys' contribution to this community, to this school district, to our students are tremendous help. So you guys deserve recognition every year, every month. As a board member, as a parent, as a taxpayer, I want to thank you guys for the hard job you guys doing. Each time when I go to your monthly meeting, I know you guys try to count every penny, try to raise every penny. Everything is going up, raising fund is getting more difficult. But you guys and Jack and Randy's leadership still managed to come up with such huge amount of money. This is amazing. You guys' job make East Brunswick really special. Thank you again.
Randy, Jack? Did you have some other people you wanted to bring up and introduce as well?
Student Association. Liz?
Can I quickly vote on that motion?
I'm sorry.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you, Board President. Jack.
Thanks for all that you guys do.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for allowing us to do it.
That's all I do.
It is.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure to work with these guys. Hide,
All right.
I'd like to hide behind you, please.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. See you in 5 minutes.
All right, I made it. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to read the entire thing without coughing. Almost took the tea with me. All right, so this brings us to the student representatives report, but he is not with us this evening. Rishi is at IPPL, and we wish them luck. And we are at the good of the cause for the public. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. In order to permit the fair and orderly expression of such comment, the board shall provide a period for public comment at every meeting of the board. Residents are allowed to speak for up to 3 minutes. The timing will be kept by the board secretary. We would request that when you step up to the mic that you state your name and address, unless you are a student, and then your name and school. Is there anyone this evening wishing to address the board?
I gotta bring this down to my size. Antoinette Evola, 45 Merrill Avenue. Excuse how I'm dressed. I just came from baseball. I'm assuming you save baseball, yes? I don't know if you're allowed to answer me. So I'm here tonight because I'm actually glad that I was here tonight on the night that you guys unveiled such a special woman. I didn't get to know her, but that's the type of teacher that I moved to East Brunswick for. And I'm worried that we're going to be losing a lot of Leslies. How many Leslies are going to be cut from these buildings because we are not budgeting properly? I asked you last year at this time, what are we doing to prepare for this year? Because I knew already it was going to be a show. You already know the word I was going to say. And I do not think you guys were prepared. This is my advice for next year, because I'm already thinking about next year in my own business, in my house, and you guys should be doing the same thing. You need to focus on the top. It is too top heavy. I have spoken to so many board members, so many administrators all over New Jersey. I am all over New Jersey all the time. We have a lot of positions that are unnecessary. You know what's necessary? Teachers. You know why? Because they're on the front lines. They're the ones that are going to give those students the experience that we all pay taxes for. You guys are raising our taxes. I knew that was going to happen because the presentation that you gave us in February, every single thing there you knew was going to make all of us come here and say, don't do that, save that, leave those kids alone. We need those teachers. And then you know what you did? You turned around and you raised our taxes. And all of you who have voted in here, you live here. Your taxes are going up too. And it's not 232. 232 if you have $10,000 in taxes. How many people in this room have more than $10,000 in taxes? It's going to be way more than that for them. And that's this year with 17% increase in electricity. The food's up. The gas is pretty decent. But you know what I'm saying. It's not going to get less next year. So you guys need to prepare next year. We don't want to come back here next year and say, save music. Don't turn Hammersholt into an elementary school. Stop cutting sports. These are the things literally right there, 3 A's. And all you guys do is go for those things first. You need to start looking at where you guys have those 6 figures, because those six figures are taking multiple teacher jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Antoinette. Anyone else? Hello.
I'm Abhay Shah, and I go to Churchill. I'm in 7th grade.
Thank
So
you.
I'm up here. So I was going to talk about why music should stay, but I know you're not cutting it this year. So I'd like to talk about why next year you should try to not have this discussion on why music should go or not. So music, it helps students a lot because it helps their brain with more grit and perseverance and teamwork. And then that can help them in the long run. And then also it relieves stress and anxiety. And so that would help with mental problems. And it encourages leadership and creativity and independence among students. And so they can be successful in life. So now I know that music benefits students. And so next year, we have to make sure that it doesn't get cut. So, we have recurring memberships to certain things that we might not even use. So review those memberships that we use and then see which ones are unneeded. I remember when I was in elementary school in Warrensdorfer that no students had computers at all. And then after COVID, everyone got computers, and I'm sure that raised a bunch of costs. So perhaps removing certain software or hardware from elementary school or other schools would reduce the costs. And so the budget cuts, they're going to have to happen every year. So we should be planning ahead.
Thank you.
Hello. Jack Levitt, 4 Springfield Road. At the last meeting, the meeting at Hammersholt, Dr. Pan asked a question at the end of the meeting. I think it was around 12:40 or 12:45. Not many of us were left, but he asked a question about how the budget was created, and He made the assumption that it was created bottom up, and Dr. Foletsky said that due to time and the timing of the funding coming from the state, it was created central office and then moved down. Ironically enough, the next week in my leadership class, I taught the process of decision-making. We talked about the fact that any decision needs to have three key pieces: the decision maker, their advisors, and whoever's implementing the solution. Without all three involved, the best solutions aren't the result. I think we saw evidence of that in this budget season. I think a more inclusive process could have saved this community days of angst, umpteen social media posts, and lines at this microphone, more specifically the one at the JM PAC. I've sat at these meetings for quite a few years and heard patients concerned of how big programs have been rolled out, specifically the creation of Hughes and the math program, both in the same year. And I wonder how many of these three parties were at the table when that was all rolled out. I've heard it wasn't all three. Next year, as we've heard, we already know that it's going to be a fiscally challenging year. So I ask, in fact, I encourage the board to look at the process now rather than in January to see how to make it as inclusive and empathetic as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Mary Antonio, 17 Buckingham Drive. Thank you for saving the Hughes Music and Athletics. Ironically, Dr. Valesky, your superintendent's report, the first two things were music and athletics. Those are what make East Brunswick shine, and it's disappointing that we had to have 700 people in a room to show you how much we care about it, and the emails that came through. I feel like this is turning into a yearly thing, and it's exhausting. I am also, as you know, a product of the East Brunswick education. My parents are wondering why I go to so many Board of Ed meetings, why I have to talk to so many board members, because in their day, they never had to do that, because things ran as they were supposed to. It doesn't mean that you're not a dedicated community member when you don't show up. It just means that things are running properly and you're happy. You are there to be informed, not there to protest and have to explain why the things that add value for your children shouldn't be taken away. So I'm asking this administration and this board to please not have us come back here again next year. Also, as Antoinette said, you know, we keep pointing fingers at the state. Fine, I agree with you. The problem is coming from the state. It doesn't mean that we don't have some fixing to do here administratively in our own budget, because we certainly do. But to be quite honest, I have been in Trenton numerous times. I'm not a politician. I'm not a lawyer. I have a full-time job, but I take off and go to Trenton, and I have never seen any of you. I know the school boards for several of our surrounding towns. They're there almost monthly. I've become friends with some of them because I've met them there. Why aren't we in Trenton protesting? They get up and they speak before the Senate committee. Why aren't we doing that if it really is the state? But again, that doesn't take away from the fact that something needs to be done here. I don't see a plan for next year moving forward. I remember last year, Antoinette, actually, when she asked that question, no answer was given, and this cannot continue. With regards to our administration being top-heavy, it certainly is. I can give you a list of comparatives that I've done with other Board of Eds surrounding towns with schools our size. I find it very hard to believe that administratively, Dr. Figueroa was the only one who was dispensable. You're certainly not dispensable, and I don't think any administrator is, but when we have to cut from somewhere, it shouldn't be what affects our kids the most. This is becoming just too much. Class sizes should not increase, and you should not ask us to increase our taxes. We should not have to pay more to have less. If you are going to make us
10
pay
seconds.
more, I understand if it's because you're giving us more, but this is not acceptable, and I'm asking you to please find better solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Anthony Gugliotta. I am the math supervisor, K-6 math supervisor, and the president of the EBPSA. Good evening. I would like to ask the board to once again reconsider the proposed cuts to 4 members of the East Brunswick Principals and Supervisors Association. Each year in the fall, the assistant superintendent presents the district's state standardized test scores. Since I've been in the district, this has evolved from the New Jersey Ask to the Park to the current NJSLA in math, ILA, and science. And each year, the board looks at our results and rightfully asks, how can we do better as a district? I can't imagine a good response to this question is to systematically dismantle the district's support system for the very teachers that teach these subjects. Unfortunately, this is exactly what appears to be happening. If the current plan to cut 4 supervisors goes through, this will be the second year in a row that these subject area teachers will be adversely affected by budget cuts. As a reminder, the 4 K-6 math coaches and the 4 K-6 ILA coaches were cut due to budget constraints at the end of the 23-24 school year. Now, a year later, 4 district supervisors are being proposed to be cut, all of whom work directly with teachers in the 3 tested areas of math, science, and ILA. As I shared the last time I spoke, East Brunswick has about 40 teachers per grade level in grades K to 4, about 35 per grade level at Hughes, and about 40 teachers per subject matter at Churchill and the high school. As you can see, this is a tremendous amount of coordination that is required to support the curricula at these 11 buildings. The proposed cuts will reduce the number of supervisors across the districts for math and science teachers from 4 to 2, and reduce the number of supervisors for ILA and social studies from 3 to 2. With the EBPSA membership split evenly with 19 principals and assistant principals and 19 supervisors, that means that just over 20% of the group that works directly supporting teachers, programs, and curricula is being proposed to be cut. This is a devastating number to say the least. The EBPSA is also concerned about the district's decision to potentially cut the leadership behind embracing new educational technologies such as AI. Thanks to this work over the last 2 years, East Brunswick is poised to implement policies that will allow us to harness the potential of AI while also protecting our students from any possible dangers. This work has been celebrated by the board on several occasions and also highlighted at parent universities, with stakeholder committee groups, and through presentations at professional organizations throughout New Jersey. And thanks to this work, East Brunswick is now seen as an educational leader and pioneer with these technologies, much as Amazon embraced the internet rather than brick and mortar stores as its beginning. However, with this potential cut and subsequently turning away from this great work, we are now sadly taking the route of stores such as Sears and deciding that we are not going to embrace this potential game-changer technology and instead allow other districts to catch up and inevitably pass us by. By removing vital support for our teachers and students through the elimination of these 4 supervisor positions, this will surely have adverse effects on the district's ability to meet the curricular needs at
Irina Katz-Nelson, 28 Valley Forge Drive. I spoke at the last board meeting. I think over the last few weeks, I guess I was just absolutely embarrassed that East Brunswick even got to where we were in that meeting. But the silver lining of it all, it has awoken all our parents. If I said that wrong, it was a big awakening for us. We will never be put in a position where we hear about something like that at a meeting the way we did and had to speak like that. We are going to be following up on plans for next year the entire year. This is not going to be something where it's 700 parents are speaking in a room one time at a Board of Ed meeting. I never attended Board of Ed meetings, but I am now awake. And I'm going to be watching what the district does for the next year as we plan for the budget cuts that are to come. As we all heard, they're not going away, and this is not something that you guys can just do a bait and switch like it happened this year, and then just have us say thank you when the cuts don't happen. We will be watching every single step. There's a group of parents that are fully in the know now, and no more not going to board meetings for people like myself and many other moms in town. And I thank you for not making these cuts, but the truth is they should never have been there. You guys are all in finance, essentially. That is your job. That is your finance professionals that need to do budget planning. Do better. That's all I'm asking for next year. Just do better. You have degrees in this. I went to business school. You learn how to financially plan. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rona Sen. I'm in 7th grade and I go to Churchill Junior High. Good evening, school board members and everyone here. I'm in Honors Wind Ensemble and I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of something that can't speak for itself, our school's music program. As I've now learned that it's not going to be cut. That's a good thing, except for the fact that this can't keep happening every single year, where we have to be concerned whether it's going to stay or if it's just going to disappear one day. Music is my life, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks that in this room. And I've been playing the trumpet since 4th grade, and I still remember the ecstasy that I felt when getting my trumpet, as it would be my second instrument after the piano, which next year will be my 7th year playing. When I heard about the situation that was being suggested next year for the music program, I was completely devastated. Honestly speaking, considering the idea of taking away and limiting our resources as musicians that would have let us and our talent flourish feels so unfair. I was really upset on how this budget cut will be drastically affecting future musicians, and I'm wondering now if any of you have ever felt the euphoria of playing an instrument in a group, like band or orchestra or something else. Well, certainly I have. And even considering getting rid of a full concert band class for 5th and 6th grade and turning them into tiny pull-out sessions makes me utterly disappointed, as younger musicians won't get to experience playing together with their peers, and let me assure you, they will be very behind in all areas of music. Younger students won't be able to play as an ensemble until 7th grade, and they will be completely unaware of what to expect. Not only will it affect younger counterparts, but it will also affect musicians already in Churchill. Without Honors Wind Ensemble, where else will we get the sufficient support that we need with the honors level class? I want to say this is unfair because kids deserve a chance to play in unity. Because kids deserve the music education they need. Because kids deserve the chance to become amazing musicians. I hope you take our voices and understand where we come from as musicians, because we have a responsibility to protect the programs that nurtures us and not just our test scores. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff Winston, Fresh Ponds Road, East Brunswick. So the shiny object in the room is on the agenda tonight. Don't look at the amended share service agreement on this agenda tonight. This is the $11.5 million attempt that you made about a month back that the township rejected on principle and tabled it. So now you've brought it back again, and this time you've done some really fancy Bernie math on the proposal. What you have is now you've combined, or haven't parsed out, shared services versus capital improvements. What you're saying in this thing is that your $8.1 million is what you're retiring this year. I have a township official telling me you're retiring $3.7 million, so you're actually taking on an additional $5 million worth of debt. You're lying, or somebody's lying at the township level. Not sure which is true. You're saying this, you're gonna go back for an additional $3 million in roof repair, so now you've brought the number right back up to $11 million in short order. I hope you're listening, Bernie. You never look at me when I talk. Next, retiring, in about 2 years, you'll be retiring $17 million worth of debt, which will be one of your largest retirements ever. I look at this list and I ask myself, are these the things that are emergency right now? If you can't take care of your basic needs at home, I doubt that you're gonna start shopping for a pool. What you've listed here, what do you need the bus for? Is the field that bad that it needs replacing? Is the scoreboard not working? What is this? In a budget crunch, when your numbers are a mess, Mr. Giuliani, that you brought to this board, you should be ashamed to even have this considered. If you know finance, which I know you do, because I've had some pretty stimulating conversations with you over the years, you know that we're in a declining interest rate environment. If you're retiring debt in 2 years at $17 million, you could buy this loan cheaper, and you know it, but you don't want to. What you want to do is use the distraction of what everybody's saying in this room while you strap this district with now another additional $8 million worth of debt. Just stop it. Wait till you get your house in order. Your house is a mess. The finances in this town are a disaster, as been mentioned by the last few people in this room. This board needs to vote no on this tonight. You can't allow it to go through. Do not allow this to go through. This board, Bernie and Victor were invited to speak to the township to justify why they needed $11.5 million. They're yet to show up. If I ask anybody for $1,000, I would expect them to get an explanation. If you're asking for 8.1, be administratively enough to show up at a council meeting and state your case. You won't do it. You hide from your obligations in this town. Make sure I hit all my notes because
10
there's
seconds.
plenty more. Yeah, the 10 seconds is do your jobs, go to the township, and get yourself in order. Get yourself straight. You work for this town. You're our outsiders who are messing with our tax rolls. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Cheryl Brass, 9 Scott Drive.
I'm sorry, Cheryl?
Cheryl Brass.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of Board of Education, superintendent, administrators, and members of our East Brunswick community. Thank you for your dedication to our schools and for your commitment to providing every student with a high-quality, well-rounded education. I'm especially grateful for your openness and your willingness to listen deeply to the voices of this community and respond with thoughtful action. I come before you tonight not only as a parent, but as a musician and as the founder of the East Brunswick Symphony Orchestra, and on behalf of fellow music educators, local businesses, and concerned community members. We're here because we care deeply and because we know the challenges we face can only be solved if we come together. For the second year in a row, our community has sent a clear and passionate message. We value music education. By preserving access to instrumental music during the school day, you are upholding equity, ensuring that all students, regardless of background, can discover their voice through the arts. Music is so much more than a class. It nurtures creativity, builds collaboration, relieves stress, and supports mental well-being. A thriving music program fuels not just talent, it strengthens community bonds and supports our local economy. This is a moment for collaboration and creativity. Our community is rich with talent, heart, and solutions. Parents, educators, business leaders, and volunteers are ready to roll up their sleeves and work with you. We recognize that financial challenges are real and serious, but so is the willingness of the community to advocate for funding, think outside the box, and contribute. So let's start planning now for that future. The East Brunswick Symphony Orchestra is proud to stand behind our schools. And as a gift of appreciation and encouragement, we're excited to offer students of the graduating class of 2025 to redeem 2 free tickets to our May the 4th Be With Us concert, a celebration of music, creativity, and connection. This is more than a concert. It's a chance for students to experience the magic of a professional orchestra, including their own talented teachers. We are grateful for your support of a well-rounded education and for recognizing the importance music has as an essential part of the school experience. Thank you for believing in the power of music, and thank you for standing with us to protect and uplift the future of our students together.
Thank you, Cheryl.
My name's Ali Patel from Pawnee Road.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Pawnee Road, Ali Patel.
Thank you.
So I would like to first thank you for listening to us for the last several weeks. We've come to you and have shown you what we value in East Brunswick as parents. We value the opportunities that we are able to provide to our children. So I do want to thank you for making sure that those proposed cuts are reinstated in the budget, especially the music programs and all the language programs. So thank you for that. But I think it shows that you can listen to us, right? You can listen to us, and we want you to keep listening to us. And we want us to work together to have the creative solutions so we don't have this problem again, right? And I also want to thank you, Bernie, actually, for bringing the data to why you cut certain things that had to be cut or condensed with the late buses, right? You provided us data. It explained what is happening. More of that needs to come. More of the transparency needs to come. Why do we need to make these decisions? And also, we came together with solutions, right? So by providing the community with more information on what is going on, we can come together. As we've said, we want to come together. We want to be part of the solution on how we can continue to provide opportunities for our children, because some of us were there till 1 a.m. We will do anything for our kids in our community. So we want to keep fostering that. So that's one. So that's one of the things I wanted to say. Second part was,
Madam President, you always say in the beginning, we tell about the Board of Education meetings, we say it in the Star Ledger, the Centennial. Nobody reads those, right? Star Ledger is now even out of print. Is there anything that can be done to post the Board of Ed meetings on social media? I know East Brunswick Public Schools has a Facebook page. I didn't see one mention of a Board of Education meeting that happened Tuesday or even Thursday. Today, I only knew because Dr. Valesky's voices just go to text message. They also go to email, which is great, by the way, so thank you for that. Very convenient. But that was the only way I knew about Tuesday's meeting. So I think in order to engage the public more and know what's going on, we need to put it in more media presences that people actually are reading now today. And lastly, I just wanted to say, from the whole structure of what's going on, so we're not here again next year, I think us as a community have the right to know what is going on with the trailers and what is the proposed plan for this high school. We've been talking about it for 2 or 3 years and then nothing. We need to know what's going on because in 2 or 3 years we're going to be sitting here and our taxes are going to have to go up $10 million to pay for a high school. So I think, again, we need to put out the data, let everybody know what's going on, and have the discussion so we can find solutions together. Because again, when we've given our time, we can come together, not just like giving us 2 weeks. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ali. Is there anyone else?
Jan Bregman, Fourth Roy Court.
Can you repeat your name, please?
Jan Bregman.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think a lot of speeches, very good speeches, but I think what is the next step? So I think the next step should be some kind of plan presented on the next meeting. I think what we need to do is to get some group of parents, group of teachers, this board, and come up with a plan. And also one important thing, analysis. 10 years ago, we didn't have this situation. So how come 10 years ago we didn't have this situation, how we get to this situation? That analysis also have to be presented. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sandeep Shah from 9 Hager Street. I'm not an accountant. I'm not MBA or a business person or anything else. I'm an engineer. It's a tough job. I do it really well. You guys all have a tough job too, right? I tried to look through the budget, and it was a huge stack of like a lot of reading, and it was on a small phone, so it was really hard to read too. So I see your struggle. One thing I've noticed in a lot of businesses when they struggle with finances and when they struggle with their budget, what they frequently do is they go in and they bring in some outside consultants to help sort it out. You do benchmarking, you do comparisons, you figure out where are we high, where are we low, where do we improve, where do we need to, or where are we just good enough. I'm not suggesting we bring in consultants because we can't afford the McKinseys and the Bains and all those guys. But look at the community around us. I guarantee, just in my own neighborhood, we've got consultants that would probably be able to help us. In everybody's neighborhoods, there's people out there that can help. And if we were to actually break this down into some sort of a task-based project, I think that we could really attack this in a manner where it's a structured approach that looks at sustainability of our programs over a longer course of time rather than going at this every 1 or 2 years. So I ask you guys, please, start reaching out. We have talent here in the community, right? It's not just on you because we all benefit from this. We all work together for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep.
Jeff Z, 33 Millman. So thank you, board, for being here and listening to us. Thank you to all the parents, and especially thanks the kids for being here. 7th graders. I didn't do this when I was in 7th grade, and it's kind of traumatic that they have to do this. I can't imagine listening to other parents talk about the things that we've been talking about the past year. So yeah, thank you for not cutting that stuff and, bring it back. But at the same time, that would be like my son saying, thanks, Dad, for paying for the gas bill. Other people said it, right? Thank you. it's not my job, right? I'm also not an accountant. I'm not in finance. Maybe I'm not a very smart guy, but it's somebody's job in this building, in this room. Some people were nice about speaking here. I won't be. I'm sorry. I moved here on purpose because I want a good school district, just like the rest of us. We talked about transparency. We talked about, what information you've given us. So you said, salaries increased 4.3 million, health benefits increased 2.06 million. So what? It's $8 million in selected budget impacts, right? Then you said equalization aid was increased by 7.5, or rather decreased by 7.5, and then we're at another deficit of 1.1 million. All right, good. These are all good numbers. So you complaining about that is like me complaining about, the gas, you know what, honey? I'm in debt because the gas bill went up. Chipotle is now $18 instead of $8 for lunch. That's why, we're in debt. So I could blame it all on that, right? So let's not focus on that or the $30,000 stipends, which is a drop in the bucket, right? What is the budget? Is it 200 million? How's that money being spent? Did we talk about the $250,000 wall partition? Do we talk about the $100,000 trailers? Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay, it's not my job. I don't know everything. But like other people said, let's get it right because we're here. I don't want to be here. I'm sure you don't want to hear us complain. Stop impacting our children. You could really do anything, but don't impact my kids. My kids better be smarter than me. They better be better than me, faster than me, stronger than me. And it's not going to happen when you guys, cut band or orchestra or sports, whatever it is. It should be improving. And I want transparency. I said it last time. How is money being spent? Where is the money going? I don't want to hear this 2 million here, 8 million here. What about everything else? All right. Good luck to us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Mastruzzo, 27 Colonial Drive. Good evening. I'd like to echo what my friends have said here this evening, that this shouldn't take several meetings, one of which had an attendance of over 700 people and what would amount to countless hours of speakers. Whereas I'm pleased to hear that there have been changes in the decisions from the last meeting, we need to do a better job at forward-looking. I run a business unit in a professional services firm, and I am constantly thinking about where the hockey puck is going. We are very fortunate to have line of sight that we are going to be budget constrained into the foreseeable future. Let's use this as an advantage to begin thinking differently. And let's try to work together with our families, local business, and continue to have East Brunswick schools live our values of excellence in academics, athletics, and the arts. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. There's a great, my name is Maggie Georges, Garfield Avenue, East Brunswick. Of course, sorry. Please don't count my minutes. I lost my speech. My app just closed down. Can you please go back?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No problem. I'll start my timer too. Okay. Rachel O'Neill, 15 Carter Road. I'm first going to read 4 questions that I emailed the board and Dr. Valesky on March 21st, and I've yet to receive a response. In the March 19th meeting, you discussed cuts at the high school. Hasn't been brought up again. Will all content area electives be eliminated or only those with low enrollment? If 6-period elective classes are cut, approximately how many students will be overflowing into the classes or into extra classes or possibly study skills? Will students be able to take a full slate of 8 classes, or are you talking about early release, or late arrival. Has anyone in the district, central admin or Board of Ed members, reached out to other districts in similar situations to talk about creative solutions? By the way, many districts are facing a budget crisis right now, but East Brunswick is actually one of the districts that's been affected the least in Middlesex County over the past 2 years. Actually, surrounding towns have been losing millions of dollars over the past 10 years. When are we going to stop with these short-sighted decision-making? 3 years ago, I attended a meeting about how we needed the trailers at Churchill for a bigger high school, crowding of elementary schools. And now, 3 years later, we have students, parents, staff pleading to not cut the programs at Churchill, to possibly close an elementary school, cut classes at the high school. When will we start making long-term decisions that are positive for our community? Let me remind the board, budget decisions, particularly cuts or reallocations, must be made in an open and transparent manner, engaging the community. While having these meetings here seems to be transparent, the meeting Tuesday, transparent, usually behind closed doors, when you give misinformation or no information, it's actually the opposite of transparent. The East Brunswick High School motto is, "We are one EB, achieving excellence with honor and integrity." When I think about integrity, I think about my children's teachers, coaches. Integrity is taking ownership of responsibility of one's actions and their consequences. I was disturbed on Tuesday at the meeting when our business administrator excused himself right before the public comment section. Wasn't here to listen to the public portion, even though it was only possibly 7 people. And then I'm assuming went into an executive or closed session to talk about the cuts that should be made. I implore the board and central admin, let's lead with the same integrity we expect and we see from our students, our coaches, and our teachers. Let's make transparent decisions, protect educational excellence, create a budget that reflects what this community values, and also one that makes financial sense. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Maggie Georges. There's a great deal of uncertainty right now. And while we've heard the budget cuts are coming, they are coming, right? There's no money still, right? What are those cuts? We still don't know what the exact proposed cuts are. If these cuts are targeting our teachers and student programs, then I believe we should let the budget go to the state. And that is pretty bold to say. At a previous board meeting, multiple meetings, I heard board members and administrators explain that if East Brunswick Board of Education cannot pass a budget, the state will step in, and to be very scared because the state will be ruthless if they come in. Frankly, I would rather have the state evaluate the situation than sacrifice the very educators and the programs that directly serve our students. Let's be honest. The state will likely begin by assessing the Board of Education central office and consider reducing administrative overhead before making decisions that directly impact students. So do not be so scared of the state. As we approach the budget's deadline, I urge you, please do not introduce last-minute changes that will pressure the public and the board into accepting ridiculous measures out of fear from the state. Please prioritize our students and teachers. Let the state step in if necessary. That is the alternative of undermining the quality of education and of our district. So do not be scared of the state. The state, in the end of the day, we work together, okay? If it means cutting our teachers and students, teachers and programs, it's not worth it. So please, do not introduce ridiculous measures. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Maggie.
Hello, I'm Julia Morales in 6th grade. So I know that band is still here, but I'm still gonna talk about a few things so then we don't have to think about it next year. So then you'll remember next year. So let's start with the facts. Music isn't just an extra. It's not just a loud class, it's more than that. Think about it. When has silence ever changed the world? Never. But music has led music has led movements. Music has told stories. Music highlights movements. And yet you want to take away the programs that teach it? You take away band and orchestra, and you take away a student's chance to learn discipline, leadership, and collaboration. You think a Okay, sorry. Symphony happens by accident, but that's not true. That's teamwork, that's dedication, that's real world experience as a melody. We change our ears to listen, our hands to move, our minds to calculate on the fly in real time. Name another subject that does that. You want innovation, but you won't be problem solvers. We don't just memorize the music that we play, we create the music. Taking away a band will make our future sound empty. Music just isn't just a sound, it's a language that speaks to the future. And speaking of languages, I'm going to talk about languages. So, now languages. Mandarin isn't just a bunch of characters; it's a billion people. That's a lot to learn about with the world. And learning the language opens so many new places to go. German. That's the language of Beethoven, Einstein, and Faust, all considered genius. Italian is the key to art, architecture, and food. Imagine saying pasta al dente and actually knowing what it means. When you cut these languages, we're limiting students from making a meaningful impact to the world of outside of EB. It's not just words, it's access to an entirely new perspective. And now drama club. I'm not sure if you're taking this away, but so I'm going to talk about it. Let's talk about public speaking. People fear it more than death. But drama kids don't just survive on the stage, they own it. They know how to command attention, how to deliver under pressure. Sound familiar? That's called leadership. Drama isn't just memorizing lines. It's learning how to read the room, how to adapt, how to take criticism and turn it into something powerful. You know who else needs those skills? CEOs. Politicians, activists, anyone trying to make a difference. In rejection, we know it well. We audition, we lose, we get back up because failure isn't the end, it's just the intermission. So if you want to raise a generation too scared to speak, too unprepared to read, too afraid to step up when it really counts, cut drama. Drama teaches us that the show must go on, and so should these programs. And I'm not sure if you already cut that after school buses, but let me elaborate. Cutting after school buses is like saying only the kids with cars can be a part of anything that matters. Not every student has that luxury, and it's just unfair and cruel. After school buses give everyone a chance to participate, to grow, to learn something with peers. Okay. Without them, you're taking away students that can't take a part because they don't have a ride. It's not just a logistical issue, it's an equity issue. Cut these programs and you cut our future. Cut these programs and you remove our opportunity and erase our path to success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Excuse me. Is there anyone else? All right, seeing none.
Can I?
Oh.
Yeah.
Should I close it?
I would
All
just
right,
like to.
seeing none,
if
I'm
I
going
could
to
make
close
some
the public portion.
I would just like to make some clarifying statements. During the good of the cause tonight, we heard, and I don't want the community to leave with the impression that we have not advocated to our elected officials or to state officials about our financial situation. Last school year, before the end of the school year, I personally met with Education Commissioner Deemer to talk about the school funding formula, the impact on East Brunswick Public Schools, and I was told by Commissioner Deemer that the funding formula was working for most schools, that they were going to work at most on smoothing the formula and giving us more predictability. I met with local elected officials. We, even as board members and myself, met in a more personal forum with the chair of the Senate Education Committee. We are meeting with the people who are power brokering these decisions on the state level. So I don't want you to think that we're not advocating. There was also a comment made about an item on the agenda tonight on shared services agreement and retirement of debt. The number that was shared tonight is incorrect. I personally met with Mayor Cohen with a document that clarified our retirement of debt. And we provided additional explanation to council leadership about all the items that were included in the shared services agreement. And finally, I'm going to say it for Mr. Giuliano because he might not say it himself. He left the meeting Tuesday because of an emergency that he had no control over. He never does that. So I hate somebody saying that he doesn't care. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to our agenda. I'd like a motion for Board of Education, curriculum and instruction, thank you. I'd like a motion for curriculum and instruction, items 1 and 2.
So moved.
All right, Ms. Herrick,
Second.
Jamie, all right, any discussion? All right, this is a voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? All right, motion carries. Sorry, my agenda is very marked up. All right, moving on to business and support operations, items 1 through 19. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Ms. Herrick
Second.
and Dr. Falco. Thank you. Any discussion? Can I start? I'm going to start with Leva. We'll work our way down. Thank you. Leva?
So my comment is related to item 12 and item 14. You know, I'm the manager, financial manager of my family. Turn it down. I'm the manager of my family finance. We have a small emergency fund. You know, we used to put it in Bank of America, which carries no interest. And then I moved it to Capital One. For the saving account, it gave me about 3.8%. You know, every month I got a little bit of money. I took my boys out. So for this item, that's my personal story. For this item, 12 and 14, so it's about our fund interest. For the number 14, our internal revenue. I'm sorry, where's the number 14? I'm sorry, my eyes still not working right, but I'm trying to get it. Please stay. Okay. So on this table, there's the interest income. So for the last year, the early number is more than $100,000. So I'm trying to dig out, how about if we can put our general fund shift to an account with higher interest, we may have very significant amount of interest. I made this comment maybe 3 or 4 years ago to try to, if our reserve and our general fund is not in a small number, it's in millions. So if we can shift it to a higher interest saving account, so monthly I think we will get a very good number. Because we're counting pennies to say if we can save this program or save this coaching stipend. So if we can generate very good money which will save a lot of problem. I know maybe Mr. Giuliani is doing this, but I just trying to make this comment. Please, looking around, not every bank give you the same or similar interest. Certain bank give you much higher interest. So last night I went to the EF meeting. Paul gave the presentation that, this month we got interest investment gains. So I think we should do the same thing. So, Mr. Giuliani, maybe you are doing it, maybe you're not. Please take a look. Put our fund in an account with a higher interest. I know that it's very challenging because managing such a big account, but I think it's really worth our time, effort to do it. That is my comment related to item 12 and 14. Thank you.
All right, we're going to come over to Mr. Giuliano.
So I want to assure you, Mr. Hong, the board, and the community, we meet with the banking officials regularly, every 1 to 2 months. We are restricted in terms of the kinds of vehicles we can utilize to make investments. It's governed by statute, but I can assure you that the district utilizes every possible opportunity to roll its funds into investment vehicles and to maximize that. We're constantly challenging the banking institution that we work with. We use sweep accounts so that our funds don't remain in a non-interest-bearing account for any period of time, only for when, for example, payments have to be made. Otherwise, we are sweeping the funds on a daily basis. So the funds are being maximized. Now, the challenges looking forward are what's happening with the economy. We don't know and don't have a crystal ball for what will happen with that, but I can assure you that we are maximizing our interest earnings.
I spoke with multiple neighboring school board. One of our neighboring school board, they are getting millions of dollars interest every year. So, you know, I know you're working very hard. Please, for the sake of the money, do your job. And then I know you are trying your best within the legal limitation. Please try harder.
And we do.
Thank you.
Jamie, did you want?
Oh, yes. Thank you. I just had a remark actually about, I believe it was business and support operations number 3 for athletic field maintenance. When I was just considering, because I do spend a lot of time trying to read through this and be thoughtful, you know, what would the cost be to our district to acquire equipment or, you know, create some sort of shared services? The township probably doesn't even have the type of equipment that would maintain turf fields versus grass. I just, I think I want to compliment the administration that I think there is thoughtful application of the bidding process for certain types of maintenance. And, you know, certainly I hope to encourage that use of our own maintenance whenever possible, since we already have some employees as well. Thank you.
So for the board's knowledge on that and for the community as well, for our grounds maintenance, that is completely contracted out. We do not have in-house staff to do that. And the reason for that is that the board, a number of years back, probably about, I want to say 5 years ago or so, that it was more cost-effective and resulted in better coverage. There's been a significant improvement in the condition of our grounds over the period of time. So that is something that we look at. You know, that may not always be the case in terms of the efficacy of being in a contracted situation. I've always said that, you know, pendulums swing. So they swing in one direction where perhaps it makes more sense to be contracted. They could swing in another direction where it might make more sense to have our own team. But for the time being, that is the situation that we're in, and it was the most effective economically.
Sorry, Wilbur?
Two questions. One to follow up on Lee Wu's question about how much are we generating in interest from the tools that you've been alluding to?
So we are budgeted in the current year for over, I believe it was $1.3 million in interest earnings. That was a conservative number. I think to date on that report, which was, I think, what was that, January or February? And to date, it was almost a $900,000 earning for the fiscal year. And we were anticipating that that would actually be higher than, by year end, would be higher than what the budgeted amount was.
Okay. I'm sorry, you said 1.3?
1.3 was over $1.3 million.
On a $200 million budget. Because, so that sounds reasonably good to me. I do know that,
Well, you have to understand that we don't have $200 million sitting in the bank all at one time. It comes in periods of time as payments. So we don't have that money just sitting in the bank.
Right, right. My one point of comparison is that Edison has about a $300 million budget, and they seem to generate about 1.1-ish million on interest in there. So there might be a little bit of room to move up.
What we
but-
don't know is what does that money comprise, what is that
Right.
money comprised of? Is it comprised of funds that exist in, large number of funds in special revenue monies? They may have more special revenue funds than us. They may have capital projects funds as a result of.
Sure.
As a result of major construction projects that were bonded that could earn additional interest. So there are a variety of factors that need to be looked at. So just looking at it in terms of what is the budget comparison, that's not a fair comparison. You have to look at what's the actual amount of cash on hand.
Right. But my point being is that we seem to be within striking distance of their performance. So I just want to echo Lee Wu's point that we should be looking to maximize this as much as possible. The other question I had was on item 1. As everyone here probably knows, the town council seemed to not like the bond proposal that we sent, that we approved here as a board and sent forth a little while ago. Do we know that they're going to be happy with this one? Or is there a chance that they're going to have the same response with the new bond proposal?
Dr. Pan, I cannot speak for the council, but I did have a conversation with Mayor Cohen, and we gave information to President McAvoy.
Okay.
And if I could supplement that, I had email communications with Mr. Criscuolo, the town administrator, who requested that we provide the amended document as well. So I can't imagine that that was being requested for no reason.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Lou?
Yes, thank you. As I look at number 2, application for additional expenditures, I'm reminded that on March 19th, I presented the board, the administration and the board leadership an alternative budget that I think I'm still looking. I had asked at that point if we could possibly get that passed out to all of the other members of the board. I don't know that that has happened. But that may also, some of the things that were recommended on that alternative budget may also address some of the concerns of the people that came out to speak tonight. So I was just wondering where we are with that.
Dr. Figueroa, the budget document that you're referencing was an email that you sent before
For consideration.
Before the meeting. It identified a number of positions that actually are identifiable by a person, and those people have not been riced, so we can't discuss them. So that's where we are right now.
Okay, so it's March 19th to now, we didn't get a chance to rice them, is what you're saying. Okay. I just want to make sure that it's clear because I would have expected to get some kind of feedback from that. Thank you.
I didn't think there was a formal motion by the board at that meeting
There
for
was
that.
not.
Well, we tried to get a motion, but I remember asking at the end of that 5.5-hour meeting, I believe it was, and I think you were taking notes on that at that time, if we could take a look at that alternative budget, because it did focus on different areas, not teachers, not programs. So if there was no movement at that point, if you'd like it in a different way, if you'd like to I can make a motion to please have you look at that, and maybe someone would second it. I could do it that way, too.
I need an opinion here on this.
He can make a motion to have somebody, have the board consider something, but that's.
Well, what I'm asking is, can I make a motion?
But the issue, part of the issue is hampered by what Dr. Valesky is mentioning. I wasn't at that meeting, of course, I'm not.
I know.
And if there are individuals who are implicated, for the board to know what it's going to be voting upon, everybody would have to have that email, and everybody would have to be familiar with it, and you can't discuss
Right.
any of the particulars in public. and you can't discuss any of the particulars in private tonight because these individuals haven't been raised.
The motion I
So-
made was just to consider it. In other words, to give that information out for consideration.
And I'm saying, you could make a motion, it could be seconded, but for the board to vote on it, the board needs to know what it's voting on. So if that is the case.
That wouldn't be an appropriate motion.
Right, so, I mean, if the board doesn't have that information, then it wouldn't be appropriate for this evening.
Anyone over here? Tim?
No, oh, okay. All right, I'd like to talk about number one, the amended shared services agreement. I have concerns with this. Now, I was very happy to read that the planned payments take into consideration the debt expiring in 2026 and maintains a level debt payment structure, except that we don't have a level income. We're losing our income in various ways. It's being diverted to different things. So I don't feel comfortable going into even more debt. I would rather see some of this debt retired. Now, the big one, and I brought this up the last time, is that we're buying 5 54-passenger school buses and camera system upgrades, $947,000 for these 5 buses, which comes to like $189,000-ish each. But we just agreed to sell some 9-year-old buses at the last meeting. The state says that we can have these buses for 15 years. Now, I understand that, the extended warranty runs out. Like, I just had somebody call me today asking about my car's extended warranty. So I get it that those repairs get more expensive, but the fact that you have this schedule to get these buses replaced so often, I don't think we're in a crisis. We can't afford to keep doing this. I would like to see we skip this for this year. I don't know how many buses do you normally get every year? Like, do you flip them?
5 to 6 buses.
Okay, so maybe we want to think about holding them a little bit longer or not flipping as many, because $900,000 is an awfully large amount of money when we're cutting programs for children. And I was really happy to hear that we were able to save at least the sports programs, because I also had gone through and I questioned the district postage. We're leasing postage machines for $14,000, 4 of them. Administration Building, Churchill, Hammersholt, and the high school. Why can't letters be sent through courier to one postal machine? There are 4 copiers here, 2 in the superintendent's office and 2 in the assistant superintendent's offices for $8,800. Why can't that money, why can't they go down to central duplicating? Why do I have to get a budget binder this big delivered to my house when teachers don't have enough paper to do what they need to do with their students? Why can't we have our documents that were sent every week, why can't they be sent electronically? And honestly, I was a bit offended when I requested an electronic copy of the budget. Was told there wasn't one for us, which I didn't understand how that could be. And then suggestions that I buy a magnifier or borrow a magnifier. And another, suggestion, well, other board members could read the budget. It's too bad, other people do it, why can't you? Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't. And I don't want somebody to go and spend time and to make me a large print copy. Just give it to me as an electronic copy. That, to me, those are just little things that I don't understand, and we need to rethink. Because when we get to the next part, that was number 1. Number 2, application for additional expenditures. And on the bottom here, we're going to be saying that we must include a showing that it has undertaken all necessary and available budget reductions and reallocations concerning items not related to providing a thorough and efficient education. Spending $2,400 for graduation greens and flowers, I can go to Walmart and get them a lot cheaper. $23,000 to replace Irwin ceiling tiles. And it says existing ceiling tile at Irwin are a mix of different styles and textures. Older styles do not reflect light well, and detract from room aesthetics. I would rather see the teachers in the classroom. We're cutting a whole bunch of teachers and we're worrying about aesthetics. This doesn't make sense. This is one of my favorite ones. $21,000, geese control services. Professional services to clear and maintain a virtually geese-free environment year-round for 11 schools. And I think that's a lady with a dog. So that dog's making more per hour than a lot of our staff for $20,000 a year. So I believe that there are places where we could cut a little bit here and a little bit there. No, it's not millions of dollars. But when we were wringing our hands over, oh, we need $5,000 for this baseball team and $5,000 for the softball team, oh, woe is me. Where are we going to find the money? It's in here, folks. Thank you.
The bus vote that Anna brings up, we voted on that, right? That was at the 2 meetings ago?
But it's back.
It's back.
Yeah, it's back.
This is an amended shared services agreement. If you recall, the board approved the entire shared services agreement back in January.
Right.
So the only reason that it's back is because of making the adjustment to remove the roof replacement to fit into what the township would be financing.
And that was before we knew.
Oh, it's Tim.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just.
Cool. I'm
Oh,
cool.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm cool. Go.
Oh, I know, I was just gonna say, because I was thinking about it, January, why did we approve this? And I realized it was before we knew how much we were gonna be losing in state aid and that we were gonna be potentially cutting 51 staff members. Right, that January, that was before that.
Actually, we had a discussion regarding budget at that same meeting.
Yeah, I know.
And disclosed what the projection was.
Yeah, I know.
So you were aware.
Yeah, there was a projection, but we didn't know for
So
sure.
no, but it was a pretty good projection, so you were aware.
Lori? Oh, I'm sorry, Tim.
No,
you
it's
were
cool.
done.
No, that's good to know. I mean, I think what I'm hearing from you, right, and what we're hearing from the community is we need to think differently, right? We need to move differently. We need to be more strategic and innovative with the challenges that are ahead, because as everyone said, and as everybody up here feels the same way, nobody wants to be here next year.
Yep.
And unless we do something dramatic and innovative and bold, we're going to be right back here next year. And, something like the bus is a great example of that. I mean, we have to stop certain practices and procedures that we've grown accustomed to. And I mean, in hindsight, I voted yes that night, but I kind of regret that at this point, because I don't think at this point in time that that's necessary. I don't think we can be taking those sort of steps. And I think too, I mean, to Lou's point earlier, Lou, if you have creative and strategic solutions for trying to address the situation that we're confronting, we should talk about that, right? We need to find ways to get that in front of all of us and push that stuff forward. So I'm 100% behind anybody up here who could bring great ideas to the table and figure out ways to help put us all in a better place, because I know, as well as everybody else, I don't want to do this again. Like, these have been 2 horrific years. I question all the time, why did I get involved in this? This is insane. I mean, really, it's crazy. It is like the craziest volunteer position I've ever had, and I do it because I love the community, but the only thing I get out of this, outside of loving the community, is a sandwich. Like, we get fed, right? I mean, it's like, it's wild. I mean, No, I mean, but that's another thing, right? Like, I don't need the sandwich. Like, we need to think about all of these steps. Like, we just have to start taking really, really better care and rethinking what education is, how we deliver education, and how we simultaneously uplift the community and allow our kids and our teachers and our administrators to thrive. So I'm all in favor of the things you brought up. I'm all in favor of revisiting, relooking, and working as a team to pull this together. So that's all I have to say.
Go ahead, Laura.
I have something when you're ready.
I'm gonna, do you mind? Actually, no, go ahead, I'll wait.
Okay. So, Dr. Valesky, just in response to both Tim and Anna, you had mentioned that my email to you was on March 19th was an email.
Correct.
Do you need that in a different form?
I do not.
Because I can redo it. Whatever you need, let me know, because I do think we should talk about alternate ways of looking at what we're doing here, because I also agree, I don't want to be doing this again next year, and it sounds like we'll be doing this for quite a number of years, so I think we need to come up with some better solutions as a board. Appreciate the administration's efforts for this year, but I definitely think we need a new ways of thinking through this process, because it's not working.
All right. What I would like to say is that I have concerns and would like to speak further with our council. I have some concerns about some of the ethical implications of what people are talking about, what people may not be entirely sure what they're.
Do that in executive session.
Yes, I'm just voicing publicly. There are people here that are agreeing that they want to talk about things where I'm not entirely sure if they fully understand. And I would like some words with council about that. Because I want to make sure, when the board steps into over-ethical lines, and if there's ethics charges, the taxpayers pay for that. They do. So let's be cautious and not go there. As to the buses, I asked the same questions, why, in a tight budget year, are we looking at buses? But had a conversation about, if I keep my car past the point where it starts breaking down all the time, and it's going in for repairs, and it's going in for repairs, that's my problem and my 3 kids' problems. If we are turning over the buses and buying new buses so that your children are not standing out on a corner because the bus has broken down yet again, or we don't have enough buses because we have one bus offline because it's in for repairs, that becomes everyone's problem. It's like 52 kids on a bus. And there are many things, the ceiling tiles, do I care about aesthetics? No. As a person in a classroom, do I care about if the light is reflected well enough so the kids can see? Yes, I actually do. I've taught in dark classrooms, and I know what it does, and I've taught in well-lit classrooms, and I know what it does. It does make a difference to me. That's just me. So I see some of the wisdom in wanting to keep the buses while they're running well, because those are, that's going to be my kid on a bus soon. I would like her on a bus that's not going to break down and that is going to show up, because I will have, be leaving for work. The other thing is that last week we spent a lot of time on the coaching thing, the coaching stipends. And I left feeling uneasy, and I went home and I thought about it a lot. And, the public talks a lot about our fiscal responsibility. So I'm a sports parent. Some of the things in the discussion that got stuck in my head were about giving the kids the opportunity for freshman sports. So as a sports parent, I want to just make sure everyone's aware. Not all of our sports have a freshman sports team. They don't. So this idea of giving everyone the chance for freshmen, we already don't have that. There is already inequity. There isn't a freshman team for every sport. And I'm assuming the ones where they were formed was for numbers. But we're saying now we don't have numbers, but we're very not willing to look at whether or not we let go of that model. I would like to ask the administration for next year, because we've talked this through. It is not in the grand scheme of a $200 million budget, the stipends. are not huge, and changing things is, not something I want to do last minute. But for next year, I would like to look at expanding the size of the JV teams. If you're a high school parent, you know this, but our coaches at the high school are amazing. The varsity coaches are paid, the JV coaches are paid, and there's a ton of volunteer coaches that are staff members who are unpaid. And I have been asked more times by coaches on the sideline, if there's ever any money, could you please just get a small stipend for the assistant coaches? There are staff members. There was discussion about volunteers. Just to make sure everybody's aware, volunteerism is great. It is a very sticky ground that the district has stayed away from for years about parent volunteers on the school sports, because there is the issue of equity, are kids getting equal access? It's a really slippery slope. Is my kid not playing because, your kid doesn't like my kid? It's not what I want for them in school. But I would like to see us look at, rather than keeping freshman teams, 5 cheerleaders that aren't getting the opportunity to really cheer, that could be taken up to the JV squad to be given more coaching, so that another coach could get, an assistant coach who's a volunteer could get a stipend, even smaller if needed, but still a stipend. We could, off the full stipend, we could do 2. But I would like to see the kids get the higher level of competition and be able to come up to the high school and maybe just expand our squads, instead of having small 9th grade teams for some sports where the kids don't get to play because other teams don't have to play against them. And I understand the argument that not everybody gets on the field. But at the high school level, it's very competitive. Not everybody gets on the field. I mean, this is about as competitive as it'll get for most of our kids. What is like 3% go on to college sports. It is competitive. But I just for next year would like us to look again at what the public keeps asking. Are we managing wisely? Are we being responsible? Or in some places, are we being emotional? Like my kid loves to play this sport. Don't get rid of 9th grade. But maybe next year we need to have a different plan. Let's put more kids on JV if there's seats on the bus, and see if we can't pay another one of our staff members to be an assistant coach up there. I think that's everything for me. I have notes everywhere. I'm so sorry. All right. Items 1 through 19 is a roll call vote.
Anna Braun.
Okay. So I need to split the vote because I am voting no on number 1, which is the amended shared services agreement.
Noted.
Okay, and then yes on everything else, 2 through 19.
Noted.
Thank
Timothy
you.
Cummings.
Yes.
Jamie Falco.
Yes.
Louis Figueroa.
Yes.
Lori Herrick.
Yes.
Lee Wuhong.
Yes.
Wilbur Pan.
Yes.
Heather Gloss.
Yes. Motion carries. We are on to, sorry, lots of pages. Thank you. Human Resources, items 1 through 3. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Jamie and Wilbur, thank you. Discussion? Please.
Just so I know, do we know how many employees actually take part in this discount, and whether or not they like the offerings that Keene has?
No, this is for Nicole.
Sorry. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn my mic on. My question is on the agreement with Keene University. I just wanted to know how many of our employees take advantage of the discount that they have, and are they generally happy with the offerings that Keene has? And if you can give me an idea of what they can do it with
So
Keene.
this is the first time that we're partnering with Keene in this way, so I'll have to let you know. We have a message ready to go out to our staff that allows them, lets them know that if they register with Keene University, they'll get a discount because they're an East Brunswick Schools employee. Right now, our district has tuition reimbursement for certified staff, but we don't offer anything like that for our non-certificated staff. So this is an avenue for our non-certificate. I mean, obviously, our certificated staff can benefit from it as well, but the intent of it really was for our non-certificated staff to have an opportunity to get back to college and into a potentially a different position in the district or beyond.
All right, terrific. And I don't need an exhaustive list, but can you just give me an idea of like what sort of courses that would be available to them?
Anything that Kane University offers.
Anything,
Yeah, they
okay,
can
so-
just go to the university and they get a discount because they have an ebnet.org
Great. Yeah.
email address.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yep.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right, this is a voice vote?
Roll call.
Roll call vote, so close.
Anna Braun?
Yes.
Timothy Cummings? Yes. Jamie Falco?
Yes.
Louis Figueroa?
Yes.
Lori Herrick?
Yes.
Li Wu Hong?
Yes.
Wilbur Pan? Yes. Heather Gloss?
Yes, motion carries. We are on to special education and student services, items 1 through 3. Can I have a motion, please? Wilbur and
Second.
Jamie, thank you. Discussion. All right, this is a roll call vote.
Anna Braun?
Yes.
Timothy Cummings? Yes. Jamie Falco?
Yes.
Louis Figueroa?
Yes.
Lori Herrick?
Yes.
Li Wu Hong?
Yes.
Wilbur Pan? Yes. Heather Gloss?
Yes, motion carries. We have moved to committee reports, information items, and for the good of the cause for the board. Anyone? Libu?
So, yes, last night I went to EBF monthly meeting, which is a very happy time. I really enjoy being there to be part of that organization. Even we count pennies, we try to raise every penny, but, it's very good time. Everyone help each other, but I really want to thank that organization. That organization makes East Brunswick really special. They not just supplement our budget issue, but they open the doors to our students. So I urge everyone, if you know someone, a friend in town or outside the town, please help them. Monday night I stopped my friend's restaurant. I talk about EBF, the pie dinner. So the owner very generously cut a check in the amount of $1,000 to EBF. So just reach out to your friends. Any business owner, I believe most of people are willing to open their pocket, donate something. So working together as the entire community, we can help EBF. Eventually, our students benefit from the effort. So I hope everyone, not helping EBF, of course, directly we're helping EBF, but eventually we're helping our children. That's the purpose of that organization, and that's the purpose we need to work on it. Thank you, Jack.
Anyone else? Wilbur?
Yeah, so there have been comments tonight as well as at other Board of Ed meetings in the recent past about looking for innovative ways of dealing with our budget issues this year and the predictable ones that will happen next year and the years after that. I just want to reiterate something that I've been mentioning at previous meetings, and that there is another mechanism that we can use to leverage in order to help us out of the next predicament that we find ourselves in. And what I want to stress this time around, and I've made this point before, is that going to the state and changing the rules by which our school finances are regulated and what we're able to do is a must in terms of avoiding the situation in the future. We have talked about finding efficiencies. I'm all for that. We have talked about trying to make cuts in a smart way. I'm all for that. We've talked about looking for areas where we're top heavy and becoming more lean in terms of that. I'm in favor of that too. But the fact still remains that we are limited in the amount of money that we can carry forward to the following year in order to mitigate cost increases that we all face within the school district and outside of the school district, and in the amount of money that we can raise in taxes. And that total amount is about 4%, right? We can keep 2% in the bank. We can raise taxes by 2% without going for a referendum in most cases. Please correct me if I'm wrong on those. Okay, good. So if inflation is above 4%, we can't keep up. We can have a perfect administration. We can have a perfect budget. We can be efficient to the nth degree, and we will be behind because there is no mathematical way of getting out of that situation. Inflation above 4% plus our limitations equals a budget deficit. There's no way out of that. So I don't know what this is going to look like, but this is kind of what I have in mind. I know from talking to people that various components of East Brunswick have engaged the state legislature. I've done that myself to the extent that I've could since January. I know that people in the administration have gone down. I know people in the public have gone down. What I haven't seen is a concerted effort, a coordinated effort among all those components. We need that. And here's the other thing. We can't do it by ourselves. We're going to need to partner with neighboring towns in order to get this done. And so that's kind of what I see. What the end result looks like, I don't know, because I'm not that smart. But I know we have a lot of smart people in town, and I think this is an effort that is definitely worth getting behind. Because again, I want to reiterate this: we can do all the efficiency things that we want, that we can do, and we will still be in the hole next year unless something magical happens with inflation. I don't think that's happening. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Lori?
I also echo
Your mic
what,
is off.
Oh. No.
Oh, it's on?
It says
Okay.
it's on. Let's see. Let's try this. I also, yes. I also echo what Dr. Pan has said. I have had conversations with board leadership and administration about making more coordinated efforts to go to Trenton and talk, and I think that in the upcoming months, we'll try to get some fruition from that. I have gone to Trenton. I was also scheduled to testify at when we had our last meeting. That was changed from March 20th to the 19th, but the timing was too late, and they gave me like the last time of the day, and there's no way I could have done that and then gone to our meeting. So I try. I know a lot of board members up here try. And so when I reached out to them and was like, I'm sorry I can't come to the assembly to talk today. Can you please give me the next day that was upcoming? They were like, no, we're full. And I was like, can I just write? Can I just send in my what I was going to say? I've been in contact with board members from other towns that have gone there and spoken lately. They told me that they felt the feedback was really good, that there were people on the Assembly and the Senate who actually asked them in questions and engaged with them this time. That also happened when they spoke at the Department of Education meeting as a parent a few months ago. And so it was more engaging. So I do think that they're listening, but I think it's a process, right? It's a process, and we have to have a coordinated effort. And we have to find towns that are in similar situations and want to work out towards the same goals. But I also know, and I agree, that it's not our only route, right? Like, we have to come up with innovative solutions that bridge those gaps as well. So budget-wise, that's kind of my thoughts on that. As for, there's so much going on in the past few months since we've had our meetings, but I've kind of pushed off talking about some of it. But I'd like to share some because there's some really great things going on in our schools. I did have the opportunity to attend the Living Voice presentation at Churchill called Through the Eyes of a Friend. It combines live performance with film footage and photos. The presentation parallels the life of Anne Frank through the historically accurate composite character of Sarah Weiss. It included topics such as the start of World War II, Jewish experiences during that time frame, prison and concentration camps, and the post-war experience. The presenter was amazing and passionate. The ninth graders attended in small groups with their classmates. They had great questions, and there was really good discussions going on. So I'm thankful for the invitation that was sent to the board members to attend that. Churchill did a great job with their 13 junior play, which now maybe was last week or 2 weeks ago. I feel like everything's just combined in my head. The kids did great. It was really fun play. Parents had a lot of fun. Every parent should be proud of the work that their child put into it. They just did amazing. I also had the opportunity to see the girls softball team play their first regular season home game at the new fields. It was really exciting. When I left, they were up 17-0. So congratulations to them. And I wish them a lot of success on their new fields. One other thing is that I encourage you as parents to please take the New Jersey Climate Survey, which is issued by Rutgers. Emails probably went out from principals or vice principals. The answers are anonymous. There's a parent version, there's a student version, which I think they take during the school day unless you opt out, right? And I believe there's also a staff version, if I remember seeing the results from last year. So please check your emails, parents. Please take the climate survey. It's very important for us to get feedback about what you feel is the climate and the culture in the schools. And that's it. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, President Guas. I wasn't able to attend the long budget meeting. I was sick at home with a 101 fever and felt it prudent not to crop dust everyone with my germs.
Thank you.
I just want to thank everyone that came out to speak. I'd like to thank the residents that sent over 70 emails regarding the budget that I personally received. I saw that there were some duplicate emails. You got together to collect your thoughts, and I appreciate the organization and the thought that went into those. I want to thank everyone who came with suggestions and ideas. Whether or not they were executable, it's greatly appreciated. There's a lot of heart in this town, and I'm very grateful to represent you. In looking at our org chart, I never lose sight of the fact that the electorate is at the top of this organization here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've
Oh,
just
go
got one more
ahead.
quick thing. Our high school orchestra went down to DC last weekend for a multi-day event, which also culminated in a little bit of a competition. I know that they don't like to use that word, but that's essentially what it was, with other high school orchestras from around the East Coast. We won. And reading between the lines of what little my senior son tells me, because teenagers, they won by a comfortable margin, it seems. That sort of thing doesn't happen by itself. So if anyone has any misgivings about keeping the music program in play for at least the next year, this is the outcome, and it's well worth the investment.
I'm sorry, I just have one last thing. I know that we heard a lot tonight too about transparency and trying to understand the budget and the numbers and how we spend money and how the district takes in money. And I'm hopeful from talking to you, President Guas, and Dr. Valesky, that when our budget is season kind of slows down in the next few weeks, that you'll take the opportunity to have some kind of outreach, community engagement regarding what we spend our money on or how it's spent and what we can spend it on and what the breakdown of our budget looks like. Because I think people just want to have a better understanding, and if they can understand, maybe we can present ways and come up with ways as a board, as an administration, as a community to be more actionable. Because I think that it would just be important for people to just know.
Thank you. No, I was going to say something. Every time I start, somebody else has something, so I'm just pausing for. Okay, we're good. All right. I just wanted to add, this is not so global. This is much more of a smaller how we are different. Well, first I wanted to say, because people have asked, yes, we do talk to people. I've spent several hours on the phone with members from boards from 2 other school districts about how they are doing things, how they are problem solving, and very importantly, how they are communicating with the public, what's working, what's not. How they're hearing student voices has actually been a concern of mine. We definitely are getting adult voices. I want to know how we communicate better with our students. So those connections are being made. I wanted to talk, though, about how we are different. I've had a lot of running around in the mom role in the past few weeks, and so my daughter was at Model Congress, which took place in New Brunswick, which is, if you want to have like a heart-stopping moment, watch your child get out of the car in suiting and join all the other children that you watched in kindergarten in suiting and go, oh God, they look so grown. And they did very well, but the part that I really appreciate is that my child's also an athlete, and we made arrangements with both her coaches and her advisor to drop her off and pick her up twice so that she could participate in her games and still participate in Model Congress. And the part that makes us different, I bet you we could get other districts to do that and let the kids kind of come and go participate and not listen to a squawky mom about it. But the part that makes it different is that that advisor was waiting at the front door every single time I dropped her off or picked her up. There was always an adult there waiting. And that is what's different about EB, is that very special level of care. I attended the Unsung Hero Awards, which were held in Old Bridge, but it's the whole county, right? It's Middlesex County. So every district was there. The part that made EB different was the number of people at our table. Because while many districts had the students and their grown-ups that they brought with them, what we had was Dr. Valesky, I was there, Dr. Bouchard was there, and two guidance, Mr. Iannazzo, and two guidance counselors were there, as well as our students and their parents. And I looked around, you know a lot of people from other districts, and I'm like looking at other tables going, all right, they've got a principal, but nobody had as many people there to support and celebrate their kids, which is what I think makes us different. I also want to say that having gone to the GMC Sportsmanship Awards, was that only yesterday? Really feels like it was long ago. Yesterday. Again, what's different about EB is that I'm sitting at our table and Mr. Malta's there with us, and not every other district had their athletic director there. The other part that's different about us that really stands out is I would like to tell about the children that were there that were not my child, because 4 students spoke and 2 of them were from East Brunswick. And think about what that says, that they chose 2 of our athletes to be of 4 kids that were called up to the podium out of the entire GMC. So Samantha Arnold and Silas Vega spoke beautifully, and their parents were incredibly proud. We were all very, very proud. The other thing I want to say about our equity is that I was a huge proponent, as many of us were, as the administrative team was, about getting our girls' softball team off of that little corner of the property and over where everybody else is. And I was all about, let's get them where we are, let's get them, it's a safer area, better facilities, all of that. What I was not expecting was I was at lacrosse, because I'm just not even quiet, I'm a lacrosse mom. I was at lacrosse on lower turf, and I wanted to go up to the softball game because it was so loud and vibrant what was happening up on the softball turf on Saturday morning. And there was a lacrosse game going on in the stadium, there was a lacrosse game going on the lower turf. My attention should have been focused, but I wanted to go watch softball because it was so loud and electric. There were 2 games going on at the field, and it was everything that you could want for our kids, to have them be there, have the crowd. I watched people just go up there because it was so loud. Let's see what's going on. So our kids are getting the benefit of what we're spending on them. And sometimes I think it's easy to miss if you're not there to see it, and if you're not at these events to compare us to other schools and just sort of notice, like, that's a small table of adults, that's a small table. So our kids are still getting the benefit of the excellence. There's a lot of people working hard for them, and it's really special what our faculty delivers. Having said that, we do not have a need for a closed session, no? Do we? No, we do not.
The
All
meeting
right.
that we had earlier was
We had, okay,
canceled.
just checking before I go wrong. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Wilbur, Jamie, all in favor? Aye. All against? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, and good night.